everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sabina Fenn. I am a full-time artist and illustrator based in Toronto, and today I was about to scan some artwork from my sketchbook and I figured it might be helpful to show you how I do that. So I'll be taking you through my step-by-step kind of process to take a painted artwork and turn it into a digital format. And this is especially helpful if you're starting to work with clients and you need to send them professional illustration files, or if you need to put digital artwork to either put on a product or, I don't know, whatever it is, Instagram. Today it's really important to know how to scan your artwork, turn it into a digital file if you're going to do anything related to art and business. So I hope this is helpful. I'll show you a few tips and tricks I've kind of learned over the years. And yeah, that's it. Let's get into it. So today I have a few pieces to scan, but the one I'll be showing you from start to finish is this one right here. This is a couple of little rabbits that I painted just for fun, and I'll be adding this to my Etsy shop as an art print. So I'll show you how I take this into my scanner and then I edit in Photoshop. This is painted in gouache in my sketchbook, and I'll show you even like how I scan it to avoid, you know, getting a shadow from the crease and get a nice polished file. So let's go ahead. This is the scanner that I use. It's the Epson Perfection V550 Photo. I think it's an older model now. You can probably get a newer one, but this works really well for me. It's a pretty simple, straightforward little scanner. I've got some artwork in here that I did for client. I'll just go ahead and plug this into my computer and then we'll get started on the scanning process. Okay guys, so you are on my desktop now, and what I'm gonna do is go to settings and then printers and scanners. I know there's probably a million ways to pull up your scanner. This is how I do it. I hit open scanner. So now I'm just waiting for my scanner to do a quick overview scan. And there it is. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is select my sketchbook page, and I'm just gonna go over a little bit too so that I make sure I get it, because I'm actually gonna get up and go press down on the scanner so that I avoid getting this kind of shadow in here. And then I like to scan my artwork pretty high, so even 600 to me is not enough, so I'll go around 800. And I have a folder named scans where I keep all of my scans. So I'm gonna go ahead and click scan. Okay, welcome back. So now what I'm gonna do is go and find my scan. I'm going to open it with Photoshop, and the first thing that I'll do is rotate it so that it's the right orientation. And then I just unlocked this first layer so that I can make changes to it freely without any restrictions. And first what I like to do is just kind of get rid of anything that I don't need. So I'm taking this rectangular marquee tool and I'll just select what I don't want and hit delete. And then that way I can get a nice transparent background and kind of start to isolate the artwork so I don't need to have any kind of clutter around it. So I'm just deleting everything I don't need. And now I've got the artwork isolated. I'm going to just rotate it a little bit because it's kind of on an angle there. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do that once more. Okay, so now I've got my artwork isolated, and what I'm gonna do next is figure out what size I want this artwork to be. So I'm gonna go to image and then image size. And right now it's at 8.734 inches by 8.211 and at 800 pixels per inch. What I'm gonna do is lock this here. Because this is a square print, I want the dimensions to stay the same, and I also don't want to be elongating or stretching it out in any way. I want the scale to stay the same. So I'm going to change this to 11 inches, and then the bottom is automatically changing to 10.3. And then because I've enlarged it a little bit, I'm gonna lower the resolution to 600 dpi. And that is just because I don't want it to be blurry at all. And what I'm gonna do now is to go ahead and change the canvas size. This is all just personal preference, by the way. Like, this is the way that I do it. I don't know if it's the correct way, but this is how I've learned to do it over the years. And I'm sure there's a lot of different ways to do this. What I'm doing now is just changing the canvas size to 11 by 11. So I've got a square to work with, since that's the scale that I want for my file. And then I'm gonna stretch it out to fit the frame and then kind of get rid of all that excess corner noise that I don't want. A little trick I've learned over the years is that the clone stamp tool will be your best friend when it comes to painted artwork. So I like to use the clone stamp tool a lot, and anytime I need to make edits for a client, or if there's a little speck or something on my piece, I'll use the clone stamp tool. And the reason being is that you can keep your watercolor texture. You don't want to lose that texture that you've worked so hard to paint on. So what I just did is I clicked the clone stamp tool, and then I hit Option, click to select which area, and I'm just selecting this pink area here. I'll zoom in so you can see a bit better. I'm hitting Option, click, and then I'm just gonna click over where I need to edit. So you see I've got all these little scuffs and things, and I want to get rid of those. And a trick to make it a little bit more seamless is to take down the hardness of the clone stamp tool. And what I'm going to do is get rid of this shadowy edge here by simply clone stamping what's near it. And then I've got a flawless edge that does not have this kind of ugly shadow. You can see I'm just going back and clicking Option, click whenever I need to, and there's little hairs and fluffs and things that I'll take out this way. See here on this cloud, I've got some things going on there that I don't want. So I'm just getting rid of those with the clone stamp tool. I'll do this and just kind of clean up my artwork this way. And then once I've got it cleaned up, I'll show you how I edit the colors. Got my piece all cleaned up here. There's no more little marks or scuffs or anything that I need to clone stamp. So now I'm going to start editing the colors. And I'm gonna start by going to, I'm selecting the layer first because that's important. I'm gonna go to Image, Adjustments, Levels. And this is very important for scanned artwork because you do tend to lose the depth of the piece when you scan it. So it's important to kind of add that back in Photoshop afterwards. So as you can see, as I'm bringing it up a little bit, it's really darkening those values and kind of making the shadows darker. And this kind of brings it back to life a little bit. So I'm gonna bring that up to 22, I think is good. I usually just eyeball this based on the piece. And then this is for the highlights here. So as you can see, if you go too far, it starts to kind of white everything out. So I'm gonna just go gently with that to 248 and then hit OK. And then what I'm gonna do is flatten this image. So I'm going to go to the three little columns here and go flatten image. And this is something that I feel like a lot of artists don't talk about, but I do like to, I'm going to close this file and save it. I like to edit my artwork in Lightroom, and that's because I have so much flexibility and control with the colors. So I'm going to go into my scans and then review for import, add one photo. And again, I'm no expert at Lightroom, and I'm not claiming to be at all, but it's really helped me kind of fine-tune my artwork and the colors that I decide to use in my finished pieces. So as you can see here, I've lost a little bit of the vibrancy of the original artwork, and I'm gonna just go in and play around with these colors over here until I'm happy with it. So I'll just kind of fast forward this part so you can watch me go and you'll see what I'm doing, but I'm not going to explain everything too much because it's just kind of playing around with the colors until I'm happy with them. Okay, so I think that's pretty much good. So what I'm gonna do here is show you the before and after. So here is the before. You can see the colors are less saturated, there's kind of less depth to it, and then after, it really does kind of pop and come to life. So if I go quickly, you can kind of tell like the difference between before and after, and this is why I like to use Lightroom. It kind of gives you a lot of flexibility into editing your artwork and changing specific colors without kind of having to select everything and modify it that way. And then what I'm going to do is go to File and then Edit in Photoshop, and I'm going to bring it back into Photoshop because I will probably have lost some of the resolution there. So I don't know why. I'm not an expert at this again. But every time I edit in Lightroom, the PI of the file tends to go smaller, but then the file is bigger. So if you remember before, my file was 11 by 11 inches, and now it's up to 27, but the resolution is lower. So what I'm gonna do is go back into my image settings, and I'm gonna bring it back up to 600 dpi, and then reduce the size to 11. And that way you can see I've got it back to my normal state that I did before. And that's about it. So now I would take this file and create art prints with that. I will first print it out and do a test print. Here is a quick look at the before and after. So as you can see, the colors are a little bit more vibrant than the original painting, and it does keep a lot of the same original values, but it's just a little bit more cleaned up and looks a little bit better. I think this would be so cute in a kid's room or nursery. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you found it helpful. Let me know if you have some different tips and tricks that you use that you can leave in the comments below. If something specific that you'd like to see how I edit, please feel free to let me know, and I'll definitely make another video on that topic in the future. Thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing, following my art journey. If you're following me on Instagram, you might know that my account was recently hacked, and so I'm trying to pour a bit more of my energy into YouTube and connecting with the people that like my artwork on different platforms. So it means a lot to me if you can kind of share my artwork, and if you see something you like, kind of share it with a friend or with your followers, as I've lost all of my followers. So thanks again for being here. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!